This is Three Dog.
How can I help?
This is Sophistry,
a show where we dive into the world of video games and tech, telling you how to spend your money.
Isn't that nice of us?
Here are your gaming hosts, Andy Borkowski and Shaggy Dave.
The show's about to begin.
VGS.
Shall we play a game?
Begins now.
Andy Borkowski here, VGS on Talk Radio AM 640, your one-stop shop for all of your gaming needs. This week we have a very, very packed show. We're going to be talking about the big releases that are here. We have a couple of interns in that actually played a lot of those games because, listen, Dave and I, we can't do it every week.
We have lives.
A little bit.
No, we're dumb. Not at all.
I'm, of course, joined by Shaggy Dave on my left. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. I'm all right, I guess. You?
I'm great. I've been playing a lot of video games. I've had some free time.
That's good.
You haven't, though.
Yeah, I've been kind of busy. I've been trying to play, catch up, but it's getting there.
Now, what do you do at the radio station for someone that's just flipping through the channels? Maybe they recognize my voice from here on AM 640, maybe not. What about you? I want to know the real Shaggy Dave.
I am a technical producer here at AM 640 and at Toronto's Rock Q107.
And you work a lot, for those listening and fans of Toronto culture, you work a lot with a very big name in the industry.
Yes, Mr. Andrew Frost.
Mr. Andy Frost. Don't call him Andrew.
Mr. Andy Frost, yes.
You know that he never calls me Andy?
He calls you Andrew?
Yeah, because I think it's just like there can be only one
Andrew
situation, and if it's Highlander, I don't want him to cut off my head.
I would cry if he ever yelled at me. I'll tell you that right now. I would.
Do you send him our video game stuff? Is he into that?
He has no interest whatsoever.
But a lot of people do. We found out some great news this week. We want to give a round of applause to everyone listening. Thank you so much. We got one number here. People are enjoying the program.
They are, yes.
It's great to know that there are people listening, and if you are unable to listen every week, you're just hearing little segments, you can listen to the entire show and read a lot of the material we create on our website. We have a huge cacophony of content, little alliteration there, on 640toronto.com/VGS. You can see this entire show uncut, uncensored, and there's a lot of, it's not that much different.
It's more behind the scenes we yell at each other.
Yeah. We don't do ridiculous things. But there's also tons of videos there, tons and tons of videos. A lot of our interns are very talented, and they're sharing those skills, so they edited a whole bunch of videos there. So make sure you check us out. We also need to highlight, I think, a very, very special instance. I got an email a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
From a woman named Christina. She was listening to the program, Shaggy Dave, and heard the Pokemon episode.
Okay.
And she was elated. She couldn't believe that you still had all of your old content, your old games, and she guessed correctly.
Oh, the top five. Yeah, our number
one best Pokemon game of all time. She was one of the only people that did guess correctly. We had one other person on the Talk Radio AM 640 Facebook page. You should check that out right now. She contacted us a little bit later. She knew what it was.
She got the podcast version.
She did. She
was
got the
very
podcast
busy
version.
at the time.
But what was it? For those listening now, those avid listeners, what was our number one?
Yeah, it was Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Very, very exciting.
Very exciting.
But a big thank you to Christina for giving us a shout out. We're joined as well, I alluded to it earlier, intern Matt. How are you today, Matt?
Feeling soggy.
Oh.
Interesting. Let's just
I think
stop
it's the
there.
spring weather.
Yeah. There's big changes in the weather. It's
beautiful
difficult.
Week, though.
Yeah, it's difficult in the city when there are these big changes.
Did a bike ride a couple days ago and went down a muddy trail. Big mistake.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean.
Did my face and tone indicate that I wanted to hear that?
Yeah, that you did. You're very concerned about my fitness.
All right, let's talk about video games, folks. I think it's very important that we discuss some of the games we're playing right now. If someone's listening, trying to get a read on what the culture's like if they're watching right now, what are we playing? We'll start with Shaggy Dave because I know you spend so much time playing video games.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of NHL 16.
So that's like a year old.
It's just because I don't really have time. Like, this has been a busy week for me, so I don't want to get into a story and then forget about it, so I might as well play a sports game. So I've been doing that. I've actually been playing my Pokemon Yellow, believe it or not, ever since that show. My Simpsons Tapped Out on my iPhone. I've been loving that.
Hold on. So
Does that count?
This is the show. I'm sorry. So this is a show where we talk about the big AAA titles.
Big AAA titles.
Games that revolutionize how we play and how we see the world. And you've been playing the Simpsons Tapped Out game.
It's my life, man. The first thing I do, I wake up, there's my phone, the alarm goes off, boom, hit Simpsons Tapped Out. Got to collect those coins. It's the casino update. So Mr. Burns. The casino update.
Wow.
Send us your money, Simpsons. All right. And intern Matt, we got to see what have you been up to. It's very important.
Sadly, that's all I really do is play video games. It's the life of an intern.
Sad.
It's not sad. That sounds pretty dynamite. No responsibilities. Come on.
Yeah. 22-year-old life. But no, I've been playing CS:GO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and The Division, actually, which is, I guess, the only big title I've been playing because Counter-Strike's like hella old.
And we're going to actually bring you on the show this week, later in the program.
Really?
Yeah, Matt. You didn't know. Sorry.
Dude, that's a surprise.
Sorry, Matt. You have a whole segment.
Oh, boy.
Good
I'm stressed.
luck. Everyone, cross your fingers for intern Matt. It's his first chance. So
Look at this. He's moving up. I only get 2 minutes in the second segment. He's getting a whole segment.
back to me, guys. The game I've been playing and the big focus of this week's episode is the new Hitman release. It's coming from IO Interactive. And this week, our feature interview is with the creative director Christian Elverdam. He's the man behind this. And if you're not familiar with the game, you might remember these really terrible movies that came out. The Hitman movies, Hitman 47. Yep. I think Tim Oliphant was in it once. You remember those?
I remember Vin Diesel. I don't know why.
It was nothing to
It's
do
the guy
with
the
Vin
bald
Diesel.
head, right?
You messing my family?
It's a guy with a bald head, so you might have
barcode.
thought Vin Diesel, yeah. And basically the premise is you're dropped into this world, you are trained to be an assassin, and you're shaking your head, Dave.
I just thought it was Vin Diesel for some reason.
It's not Vin. That's not the important part of
he's
what I'm
with the
saying.
Go on. Family. I'm all about family.
The game is mostly focused on you being dropped into this big sandbox world, and you need to figure out really creative different ways to eliminate your target, and you get more accolades if you're able to do that without anyone noticing, or if you make them think it's an accident. I remember one of the best times I've ever had in a video game was playing the old game Hitman Blood Money, and what you had to do was eliminate this Hugh Hefner type of guy. Oh. And it was a multifaceted level, really, really fun. This is back 2006 days, so the graphics had not as many polygons. It was great. And you were able to beat the level without anyone noticing by feeding him a poisoned hot dog.
Wow.
And you got it to him by giving it to his little dog that went through security to give it to. So that's what you do in a game like this. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be talking about that later.
He ate the hot dog through the dog?
No, he didn't eat the dog.
Or did the dog have the hot dog in his mouth and he took it and ate it?
Exactly. So I gave it to the dog. Well, it's the game. Well, I
doesn't
didn't
make
make him
sense.
do it.
Dog odors, man. Like, they're getting really,
I don't understand.
I'll ask
intimate with
Christian.
their dogs.
Okay? I'll ask Christian.
I gotta do it.
Well, ask Christian. No, it's a big interview. We're really excited to talk to him. He gave us a little bit of time. Really, really busy guy. And then, like I alluded to before, what we're coming up before that is a look at The Division, the big title from Ubisoft. Dave and I have played that in beta mode a lot. It's one of the only games we played online, and we discussed it on the show. A lot of times we love Ubisoft here. They really supported us, so we're going to at least focus 10, maybe 15 minutes if we can, all on that. And of course, we have some Tom Jones later, always important.
Gotta love Tommy.
Gotta love
Not Tommy Lee Jones, just Tom Jones. Well, I love Tommy Lee Jones.
I'm Andy Burkowski.
I'm Shaggy Dave.
I'm Matt the intern.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to VGS with Andy and Dave on Talk Radio, AM 640.
Andy Burkowski here, Talk Radio, AM 640. Wow, I love that beat, Shaggy Dave.
I know you do. That's why I picked it for you.
Name that game. Name that game.
This is Bowser's Castle. No, this is Super Mario Kart.
Oh, man. A little more? Do we have some more on it? God, again.
It's got 250 left.
Let's just play it out.
Okay. I had enough.
Again, this is Video Game Sophistry, the show on AM 640 where we look at the video game industry, talk about some of the stuff that's going on within the week. It's very topical. We have a lot of news that we cover. But we also are the big feature, I think, because I'm the one that does it, are the extended interviews. We talk to the people that are making the games, that are parts of the games, whether they're voice actors, they're writers, maybe they're creative directors, maybe they do something in video games you've never heard of. They join the program and really go in depth on these games you really, really love. So that's our big feature this week. I obviously don't do it alone, though.
No, you don't.
But I cut people off a lot. So now is not... Okay, Dave. Now is an opportunity...
Don't even get me started.
Now is an opportunity...
Like that.
...to really give them...
What?
Now's a chance to give them a moment. Yeah. To speak and to really share a bit of their story before we get into exactly what we're doing. And I think the best way to do that is really push the notion that we here at VGS are trying to make video games sexy again. We're coming back. I thought it would be appropriate to introduce our intern with this music. Nason.
Thank you for having me on the show. I want to be sexy. I've always felt like I should be sexy, so this is good.
All right, well, you're here. You've helped us a lot. For those who saw the show on Facebook, we're doing a lot of stuff on Facebook Live. Our entire radio station is doing it, so it's really great stuff. But Nason was the man behind the camera.
I was, absolutely. Yeah.
Just let the sex music's in the background.
It's so weird.
It's just there. You know how we found this?
I searched porn on my work computer.
And we're still employed.
So far.
That's amazing. But Nason, you, if you could describe, because hopefully you'll be helping us out a lot here. We always need additional voices. Intern Matt has helped us a lot. He's very much a multiplayer gamer, though.
Sometimes, yeah.
You sometimes help us, or you sometimes a multiplayer
help,
gamer?
yeah.
All right, let's turn off his mic. Let's do that.
Okay, bye, Matt.
Nason, though, how would you describe yourself? This is still going to keep playing. How do you describe
do you want
yourself?
it to continue to play?
I absolutely want it to keep playing. How would you describe yourself as a gamer, as a consumer of media?
I strongly believe in RPGs.
Okay, so
huge
the role playing games,
big
the
role
big
playing.
fantasy games.
I love the sandbox RPGs, which is great, like Skyrim. Love Skyrim. Played that all day long.
What is your favorite game of all time?
Of all time,
okay. Let's simplify that question. So it's a game that you play kind of repeatedly. Like you'll go a year, maybe a year and a half, and you'll be like, man, I really got to get this. And you'll load it up from Steam again. You'll blow the dust off that old CD.
Oh man, I have the best game. I am a huge fan of ninjas. Huge fan of ninjas. And
round of applause, everyone. Round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Nason got his moment.
Thank you. The reason why I say that is because for PS1, there's a game called Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
And I always play that game. I try to play it at least twice a year.
Tenchu Stealth. I definitely did some prep.
Tell us what it's about.
Okay,
I could have done that. Yeah.
So you play as there's obviously two ninjas. There's the main guy you play as.
Is his name Tenchu?
His name's not Tenchu, which is
all right,
funny.
Well, I don't know
Can I
about
stop with this music?
Yes.
And you play as the other ninja girl, right? Which is funny because they don't really tell the names, which is fine because they're just ninja guy, ninja girl. And you go around feudal Japan and you basically just assassinate everyone you don't like. And
I like it all.
I'm looking at it right now.
Games.
I just as we're speaking right now on VGS, and of course, if you want to see this, you can head to our website 640toronto.com/VGS to see the recorded versions of this show. I just went on YouTube, and if you get a chance, if you're on your computer, type in Tenchu Stealth Assassin, and you'll see some wonderful 90s graphics.
Yeah.
I just saw a polygonal shogun try to molest another polygon, and you're coming in and fighting.
Yeah.
So this is what you like.
And you drop from the roof, and while he's trying to molest somebody, you just cut his head off, and it was probably
there's actual blood too.
Yeah,
this is
there's
1998,
blood.
and there's
one
real
of the
blood.
first games that there was like blood and gore,
Wow.
And I just love the fact I'm a huge stealth player too. I like games that incorporate stealth, and like I said, ninjas are the best way for me to do that.
So you're pretty excited about the Hitman.
I love Hitman.
Well,
yes,
you should keep listening then.
I will,
because we have, again, if you haven't heard, we are speaking to the creative director Christian Elverdam.
Very cool.
Of the new Hitman game, which I've been playing a lot of. We talked about it, but we cannot get to that just yet. You heard the music, folks. And Shaggy Dave telling me we do have to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to VGS with Andy Barkowski and David Spargallo on Talk Radio, AM 640.
Andy here, VGS. We had a lot of fun so far talking about some of our favorite games, games that we want brought back. But we need to focus on the future. We need to look ahead.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa.
All right, now, of course, it's our weekly feature where we look at all the big games that are coming out in the next 7 days. So that's Sunday to Sunday. Hitman came out on Friday, so that doesn't count, and you should play it. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Shaggy Dave, what is the one? Because we try to introduce these as games that we think are the most popular as number one.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something about albino like something, and I don't know. It's not worth it. EA Sports UFC 2. It is coming out for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. I'm a big combat sports guy, so I'm really looking forward to kicking some ass.
Those games are pretty good, especially in comparison to I think some of the WWE games that kind of fell off a little bit.
WWE games are still always fun, if you get a bunch of guys over. And
so you're more our number 2, what we thought is the next big one coming out, is Pokken Tournament on the Wii U. This game we talked about in the last few weeks in our Pokemon episode. If you haven't seen it, head to our website, Shaggy Dave Went Insane. Pokken Tournament is essentially Tekken with Pokemon characters. If you ever wanted to see Blastoise stomp Pikachu's head, this is the game in realized 3D graphics. This is the game for you.
I would love to see a Rattata up against a Blastoise.
Okay.
Stomp.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Okay.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
I was excited for it. What do you want?
Pokken Tournament Wii U coming out this week.
Buy it.
Nason.
We have Need for Speed for the PC coming out.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
I can tell from your tone.
Do
you really?
Yeah, absolutely. I brought my PS Vita and I've been playing it all the way here. I was playing Need for Speed.
Did you drive here? Because that could be a problem.
No, that's you're absolutely right. No, I was driven here. Yes.
Number 4.
Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympics here, folks. It's
Great
going to be an
title.
exciting 3DS game.
Yeah.
Only on the 3DS is an exclusive, so.
Okay, but I got to ask, because we all laughed at that. It's ridiculous. I remember playing some of these Olympic games when I was a kid. And really, really liking them. Like playing, I don't know if it was Mario characters and, Nintendo characters doing it. The Beijing games.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
you remember those games at all?
Yeah. I think it was Sonic 2.
They were pretty fun. Like, they were all right games.
Yeah, they were all right.
Like, I wanted to play the luge. And it's a lot of, like, the button mashing gameplay that I thought was popular in the early 2000s.
It's kind of like a Mario Party, I guess.
It is, yeah. That's exactly what it was.
So, like, what this Rio game, it's basically like any Mario-based Wii game or whatever. Like, it's an exclusive, but it just has Nintendo characters and it has Sonic characters just competing in the game. So
very, very exciting. And again, we talked about everything that's new. Big thanks to the interns. They'll be sticking around for our next feature where we talk about The Division, whether or not it's worth our time. We talked about what's new this week at the stores. Now we need to know what's new this week on the internet.
This week in gaming.
I've got to do the news!
What do the PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, and HTC Vive all have in common? If you said virtual reality, you're right, but they're also set to be released this year. Which one to buy is the question. Well, Sony's vice president says the Oculus Rift's technical quality is better than the PlayStation VR, but you need an expensive PC in order for it to work, somewhere in the $1,000 range. Whereas PlayStation's is more for everyday use, affordable, and easy to use. It will also work with any PS4 that is currently available. PlayStation VR is supposed to arrive in the first half of 2016, but the fall might be ideal. Oh, and if you're under the age of 12, Sony doesn't want you playing with it. Sorry, kids. Fable Legends is no more. Microsoft announced that they have canceled the game and are talking about closing down Lionhead Studios along with Press Play Studios. They said these changes are taking effect as Microsoft Studios continues to focus its investment and development on games and franchises that fans find most exciting and want to play. Fable was touted for cross-platform play between the Xbox One and PC. It's no secret that Bethesda has new games on the way, but there might be one that is going to make several million people, maybe even billion people, jump for joy, if it gets announced. Bethesda is hiring an engine, gameplay, and 2 graphics programmers for a bleeding-edge RPG. Could it be Elder Scrolls 6? Maybe. We'll just have to wait and see.
There's a briefcase in front of you. Open it. Inside you'll find details of the contract. Your mission is to eliminate the Serbian arms dealer, but first you must shut down the security CCTV system. hour. Good luck.
The people at Realm Pictures just made the most brilliant game of all time, Real-Life Hitman. You control the real-life Agent 47 in this mansion that has objectives, items, and real-life actors. Depending on the orders, you can assassinate someone, move things, and you can even steal someone's clothes. Agent 47 even communicates with you, wanting to know what to do next.
What do you want me to do?
Don't die.
Bill Gates was on Reddit last week doing an AMA, and someone managed to sneak in an excellent question. When the hell are we getting a new Age of Empires? Well, I recommend putting in a pre-order now because Bill, being the gentleman he is, answered with, I will look into this. How many empires do you need? So that basically means it's confirmed. Or not.
This is VGS with Andy and Dave on Talk Radio, AM 640.
Back again here, Andy Barkowski on Video Game Sophistry, VGS, for those that don't know what sophistry means.
I still don't know what it means, and I'm part of the show.
We talk about it every week.
Games?
No, sophistry, maybe I should clear this up a little bit.
Please do.
The use of sophistry, it's something I thought of a long time ago. A sophist was an individual that would pontificate on the beauty and the rigors and the rhetoric of some kind of big idea, but he didn't really have anything to say. He just would use big fancy words and would use jargon and rhetoric, but really didn't have any substance. But a medium that has sophists means that it's so advanced that there's people that can be pretentious and pontificate about it all day and still considered to be smart. Video game sophistry is the idea that we are going to be those silly, pretentious guys because video games are that important and are that high level.
Okay, explain it to me like if I was 3.
Okay, that's enough. This week, we, of course, will be talking to our big feature interview is Christian Elverdam. He's the creative director at IO. He is one of the main minds behind the big game this week, Hitman. It's the first episode of Hitman, because if you remember, Hitman is now going to be episodic. So we talked with him on that intensively, and it's pretty interesting because I'm a big fan of those games. We just heard our news of the week with Shaggy Dave.
Yeah.
Always wonderful.
We tried something different. We ended the segment with it.
Yeah, so if
cool.
If you did like it, or if you want to go back to the old way of things, send us an email, vgs@640toronto.com. While you're on the internets, make sure you also go to our website, 640toronto.com/VGS. We got videos up there. If you have any interest in the new Hitman game, you can see my extended video review. And of course, on YouTube, type in VGS, Video Game Sophistry. We have about 4,000 videos, tens of thousands of subscribers. A lot of people like that stuff. But our love really is here on Talk Radio, talking about games with you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
You're welcome.
I want to talk a little bit, Dave, on an issue that you brought up in News of the Week.
Oh, yes. Let's do it.
Specifically, the story involving my main man, Bill Gates, and a game that is very close to my heart.
Darwin.
Okay. For those of you listening and wondering if your radio just blew up, that is some of the most iconic noises, sounds, and sound effects from the Age of Empires games. These tactical, I guess RTS games. RTS. Okay. Really didn't intern, Matt. That would look at different eras of time, and you'd have different factions pitting against each other. You'd build your own empires, build your own units, fight each other. A really, really great strategy game. Tons of people adore it. And like we heard in News of the Week with Shaggy Dave, Bill Gates on Reddit AMA answered a question, can we have another Age of Empires? His answer, hilarious, as if he has no idea what this is about, saying, I will look into this. How many empires do you need? So it made me starting to think, I would love the idea of this, bring it back. I would love, it would be kind of like XCOM and a lot of those turn-based games. I guess StarCraft, because a lot of people like that.
Yeah, a lot
it's
of people
very, very similar to that, and I guess League of Legends a little bit.
And Warcraft, too. Yeah.
But it would be in that kind of vein, but I still love the ultra-realistic history. Like, I learned about Barbarossa, Saladin, and real people in history. These are important people from that video game. So I would go crazy, I'd go mental if this game came back, even as a reboot. So I wanted to ask, are there any games that you have in your mind that you would love to see coming out again 2016?
Well...
okay.
Go back.
I'm jumping right in. Hey,
because like
that's intern
when I
guys.
was when I was little, I played a game called Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire for N64. Now this game was kind of a back plot between what was going on between the later movies of the old films. You didn't play as Han Solo, but you basically played a guy that was exactly like him.
Yeah.
You had your sidekick, whatever, and you actually fought iconic characters and did iconic stuff throughout the game. And it was a beautiful story, but the mechanics of the game absolutely terrible. So if someone could actually you would be walking on a cliff and then out of nowhere you would slide off and you're like, I'm in a desert, why is there ice here, man? You're like, what? But
so hold on, you want to play this game again?
Yeah, but I want it to be remastered. I want it to be reborn into high graphics and beautiful mechanics.
Pretty exciting.
The story was great.
Yeah. Shadow of the Empire. Shaggy Dave, you have, I think, pretty specific needs. You like your first-person shooters.
Yeah.
You like very genre-based games. I'm interested to see what you'll pick.
I want Modern Warfare 2 remastered, but that's not my choice. My choice is actually an N64 game and a PlayStation game called Vilgante 8.
Vilgante 8.
Do you remember that game?
8. Okay, I'm looking it up, and so is our listeners. Yes, of course.
The school bus?
Yeah, I know. It was very much like the Twisted Metal games.
Yes.
It was their kind of version of that. I remember those games a lot. They were really fun.
A lot of fun.
How would you describe it to someone that doesn't have YouTube in front of them and can't see gameplay
Okay,
footage?
so Vilgante 8, you just drive around and just destroy other vehicles. And you
have weapons.
You have weapons attached. So you pick. It's like think of Mario Kart when you go in the mystery box and you get a random thing. But instead you drive through this thing and you get another, you'll get a machine gun on the side of your car, or you get a rocket launcher on the back, and you destroy the other team. That's all it is. And I remember you could get the UFO at the end and just obliterate everybody.
Really? So this wasn't an online thing though. This was like
a
split
N64.
screen.
Yeah,
a split screen.
Yeah,
with
you
your
can
friends.
split screen it. Yeah. Definitely.
Just think about that. There was a large period of time where the internet was not integrated to our gaming systems.
Imagine that.
That it was just a machine that you used there.
You had to actually go out and get friends.
You did. Oh God, I'm upset. I wouldn't be able to do this. It wouldn't work out.
Me either.
Of course, we need to hear from Nason. He's Nason the intern as well. Matt the intern has a little bit of a ring.
We can share the title. It's a proud title.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Well, considering I'm sticking with the feudal Japan era, you guys can call me Ninja Nason if you want to.
Oh,
I don't think so.
No,
double N.
No, double N. Yeah, I'm gonna. Like I said, I'm gonna stick with feudal Japan. I'm gonna go with Onimusha Warlords.
Oh yes.
PS2. And it's a great game because you play as his main character, Seminosuke Akechi, and he's trying to go after.
One more time, louder.
Seminosuke Akechi.
So is this
no idea.
Which Onimusha is this?
This is the first one.
This is the first one.
Yeah,
okay.
this is the one they first introduced it.
So if I recall, not to monopolize the conversation as I always do, but this is the game where you had to use the directional buttons to move.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was really, really wonky because you would enter these beautiful set pieces, but if you're walking forward,
you're going to go backwards.
Yeah, you're going to go backward because now you're entering a new set piece.
Yeah, man, that's the whole thing. Yeah. Oh, love that game. I would love to see that come back on PS4, Xbox One, anything, because if they just remastered the controls, it would just be a great game.
And it's actually based on feudal Japan's real history, right? With Nobunaga. And this is not accurate because I remember there's demons that you suck out and use their power.
Great game. Yeah, you use it. Nothing's better than taking their souls and using it to upgrade your weapons. That's just insult to injury, in my opinion. Yeah,
there
absolutely.
you go. No. Well, if you are listening, you're thinking, well, these guys are off base. These are not the games that we want to have remastered. They have a video game show? This is insane.
Get them off the air.
All right. Send us an email, vgs@640toronto.com. We want to hear from you. What is a game that you remember from your childhood, from yesteryear, or maybe just a game that you thought, had a really great premise, but got it wrong in execution? It had all the right things, but then when you played it, sorry, it didn't work out. Send us a message. We'll be sure to feature you on our show next week. That's all we have time for with this, because we need to talk about The Division, right after the break. What is this?
This is the Vilgante 8 theme.
Dave got what he wanted. After the break, we'll be speaking with Matt the intern all about The Division here at Talk Radio AM 640. Play that up. A storied franchise that really revolutionized the idea of mature sandbox gameplay is back with a big twist. Hitman is here. I've been playing it, absolutely loved it, but you already knew I would like it. I talk about Hitman games all the time. The creative director on the game is joining us. He's going to explain more. Christian Elverdam is here. Thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
How would you, because I know we're pressed for time here, what is the best way to describe this game to someone that's not familiar with it, never played it before?
Well, I think it's the fantasy of that being an assassin in a contemporary world where you are sort of called in to take out high-profile targets sort of across the globe. So that is the core fantasy of the game. The nature of how you play the game is very much, as you described in the opening, a sandbox game. So what we basically say is that we create a small world for you to explore, but whatever happens in that world is completely up to you. So it's so much about freedom, and the players actually trying to find their own way, how to infiltrate, what disguises to wear, how to get close to their targets, and finding these ingenious ways of killing them in sort of our core, what you call the strongest sort of aspiration for many players is to obviously assassinate your target where no one knows you were ever there. The target is the only one who dies, and maybe the target even dies in an accident, so no one even suspects that assassin ever visited this location. So I think that's very much the essence of what we're doing.
Absolutely. And for those that maybe aren't familiar, you're kind of painting a picture of a very tonally gruesome and serious game. But I've played this thing. There is a lot of ingenious infusion of comedy and levity and just the interesting ways that you can do things and, murder in hilarious ways. Tonally for you guys, where did you want this game to fall in terms of, the spectrum of gritty, realistic, fun to play, gruesome to hilarious, off-the-wall kind of hijinks?
Well, I think that's the beauty of the game, because even if the core fantasy is, let's say, rather serious and where the aspiration is sort of a deadly assassin, the playing of the game, we infused it with many layers of dark humor, where it's both down to the banter between the NPCs, but also the very sort of essence of how you play the game. People just have fun in it, right? It's not really meant to be super serious in that regard, and it's equally viable to just play the game where you're sort of constantly just playing around with the characters in the level, the AI, and just screwing with them and being goofy. So that's also a big part of it. Just poking fun at the game and just see what basically happens when you say, what happens if I throw a hammer at this guy, or what happens if I go over here and do this? And that's very much also the nature. I think we can't really help but inject these layers of both absurdity and quite a lot of humor into it, because that is why you want to play it in the first place.
What is one of the most hilarious deaths that you've played in this game? First of all, how do you play the game? Are you like a suit-only silent assassin, which I think is absolutely amazing and crazy way to play, or do you play all ways? And what's the most insane instances of death that you've perpetrated in the game so far?
Well, that is, again, me personally, it's as varied as the people who play it as well. I mean, I think there are two experiences I typically go for when I play the game. One of them is trying to find the nuggets that we built. So one of the most hilarious kills in the very opening of the game is luring this guy into the cockpit of a MiG fighter jet that he's going to fly. And then you've rigged the ejector seat, and you simply just go over the steps of this whole safety procedure until you finally make the guy sort of eject himself out of the jet plane while still grounded inside the airplane hangar, which is the whole way that plays out with our sort of main character, 1847. He's super dry, and I think the humor in that moment is quite hilarious. But then there's also I would say the crazy moments you can create yourself. And actually, what we watched also, we had the beta up and running where we invited a lot of people to come in and try the game, and we saw, countless of crazy playthroughs. Some guys managed to, I think they knocked out everyone in the we have this sort of small military base you infiltrate. It's set in sort of in Cuba, but you infiltrate it, and they managed to knock out all the guards in the level with a hammer. leaving only the target sort of conscious in the end. And just seeing that is it's hilarious. I mean, it's hard to describe it. I think people should try to maybe check out YouTube or Twitch and see some people playing it. It gives you a good feel for just how crazy things can go.
VGS here speaking with the creative director Christian Elverdam on the new Hitman game that's blowing up right now. The biggest piece of controversy, you guys have adopted a new way to develop this game and send it to the masses. It's episodic. So this week, for the low price of about $15, what are we getting in the Hitman game and what is still to come? Quickly, if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, for the launch of the game, we have the prologue, which is the opening of the game, teaching you how to play it. Takes place 20 years before the main storyline of Season 1. And then what you also get is the very first mission of the main storyline, taking place in the present day in Paris. So a very contemporary setting where you're infiltrating this high-class venue that's both hosting a fashion show and then this clandestine spy ring, and you have to eliminate this Russian oligarch. So that's very much the package for the first episode. Then a month after the next episode is out, which takes you to Italy and some other new targets as well. Obviously, as you mentioned yourself, a lot of people are sort of curious as to what's going on with this new format. I think first of all, I mean, this is exactly why we created the intro pack to begin with, that you can just jump in and try it, and at a very sort of modest price point, just to figure out whether the game is something for you or not. Because we realize we're trying something bold and completely new in that regard, and that will always leave some people saying, I don't know. We also said that eventually there will be a disc when everything is done, if you're more that kind of player. I think for me personally, on a creative level, what we did with the episodic format, or with I would say the storytelling of a TV series, is I think we managed to create for the first time for Agent 47 a world and a way of telling a story in that world that makes sense for him. And I'll just try to elaborate if we have 2 minutes of time.
Yeah, please do, because creatively it seems like that would be, sorry to interrupt, but it seems like that would be the biggest challenge, because developers like Telltale that use a similar model for years and years, people would get a little fatigued because they don't remember all the big choices. From a narrative perspective, these games usually have pretty strong narratives and they're also fun. What did you do to ensure that, when I get the next episode, that it still makes sense, that I still understand what's going on?
Oh, absolutely. I get that completely. Well, I think first of all, it's important to say that story is a part of the game, but actually a big part of our game is also what happens in between the episodes. So we have this concept of elusive targets. So they are targets that appear inside a level, and then they are only there for a very limited time. In the beginning, it's going to be 48 hours. And that's the time frame you have to actually take them out. So in that thinking, our game is not only episodic in terms of a story. It's actually also a live game. We have all sorts of different contracts appearing inside the world at very regular intervals, where you get challenged to do different things into the levels. So in that sense, I think story is a very good way of motivating what's going on in the game, but you're not on the spot for remembering everything that necessarily happened. It's not crucial to your success in the game. Even so, there is obviously sort of an area inside the game dedicated for you if you want to recap the story and see what went on. But the reason why episodic makes sense in a more narrative context is mainly because if you compare to maybe other known characters, Agent 47 is a very minimalistic guy in terms of his inner motivation and how people see him. Our fans typically love him as this blank canvas. And if we try to apply a normal cinematic from let's say a Hollywood movie, you have this hero's journey where your hero undergoes certain ordeals, he overcomes his enemies, he challenges himself and comes out on the other side as a better and changed person, basically. And people don't want that with Agent 47. So if you think about what's going on with all the TV series out there, I mean, one of the things that I think is a very good example would be take Sherlock Holmes. The sort of super well-known detective. This guy is as well sort of a little bit of a sociopath. He's brilliant at what he does, and you love to see him solve mysteries. And the part of the excitement is that every episode in this case would be a new mystery to solve. It's not so much the plot you need to follow, but the mystery and the fascination with watching him work. And you don't expect Sherlock Holmes to change as a character that much. You just love to see him under pressure And then around him, you have interesting characters like Dr. Watson or Moriarty's nemesis. In fact, I believe Sherlock is a little bit bored when Moriarty is dead, right? What his life almost has no meaning anymore because he thrives for that. And I think that analogy is really good with Agent 47 as well. He's the master of the craft, called in to sort of eliminate these high-profile targets that no one else can get to. And that's the excitement for the players, that every episode is a new a new target, and it's a new location in the world. And you're just fascinated by following Agent 47 doing that. And then what we're also doing is we're introducing new characters into the seasons around Agent 47 that will create this overarching web, this overarching story for him to take part in. And it feels way better for us when we tell stories about Agent 47 that way.
Well, thank you again, speaking with the creative director, Christian Elverdam, on the new Hitman game. It's a new take. It's a new twist on how these games are developed. Take it from me. I've played it for about 15 hours. It feels like the old, fun Hitman. Cannot wait to stop this right now and play some more. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
You have a good one. This is Andy Burkowski, VGS Talk Radio, AM 640.
This is VGS with Andy and Dave on Talk Radio, AM 640.
Thank you all so much for spending your Sunday evenings with us. You could be anywhere, but you chose to listen to four grown men talk all about video games. A big thanks, of course, to our team, starting with me, Andy Burkowski, the host, the brain, the mind, the beauty, the face of VGS. To my left, everything else, Shaggy Dave.
Yep, you're welcome.
We got to play some Vigilante 8, man. Can't wait for it. Matt the intern to my right.
Yep, Matt the intern. That's what I'm here for.
Good show, good show.
Great show. Love it.
We're very sorry if you're listening. You're wondering, where'd that Division content go? We weren't able to get to it today on air. Head to our website. We'll have full coverage of that. We want to thank, of course, Christian Elverdam. He is the creative director talking all about Hitman. I got to get home and play some more Hitman. What about you guys?
I got to get home and just go to bed.
And I'll be on the Division.
There we go. Exciting stuff. Next week, we will be talking about Fallout. New iterations, new trailer. It's going to happen,
I can't
Dave.
wait.
It's going to happen. I'm Andy Burkowski.
I'm Shaggy Dave.
I'm Matt the intern.
And this is VGS.
Without a doubt, the worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.